the glare through the paper. He has in his hand a special thing that down at the bottom is Alchemist Fire, and that's a wind up piston that will set it off when he sets the timer on it. This was one of my first really concerted effort drawings of Kit. On the other side was just Monster Kid falling down. Here is Pipsqueak and Featherweight sitting on the swing set. Recent drawing, majoring, a long night of insomnia. Why did you decide not to finish it? Just keep practicing. Keep practicing. Which film did you like? Lamb 4 Time Raj? I didn't see which one you responded that to. Kit is a rogue. He is a particularly emotional, fairly cynical rogue who wants to do well and do good by people, but sometimes is driven by emotion more. This one does not have any context. This just was an idea that came to mind. It's loosely, I guess, inspired by Undertale, but not fully. Here is a Scootaloo drawing. Kind of based on a scene from my story. Here's Featherweight and Scootaloo flying. I'm not very good at drawing windy manes. I'm okay at drawing the short windy manes. Featherweight came out alright. Scootaloo did not. This is a scene from one of my stories. Scootaloo in a hospital bed and her dad concerned and telling a story. This is indeed her dad in those stories. Focus, please. There we go. Something that's an Undertale spoiler. Undertale spoiler. Here's Cuphead and a Yoshi from Paper Mario. Oh yeah, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. Red Axum Ranger. Let's see here. A jack-o'-lantern. This was made a couple days before Halloween. Monster Kid Trick-or-Treating, which was made the day before that. An earlier attempt at drawing Mew. I have had later attempts since then. Yeah, no, like, this whole book, you can see a progression. This is me going backwards, so you can see less and less skill, as it were, as I go back. Here's a couple more for 11-4 Time. These still were coming out really, really well. I like how these came out. Littlefoot and Ducky. Here's Sweetie Belle singing. Here is Apple Bloom with the loop-de-hoop. Here is Scootaloo playing volleyball. Okay, focus. There you go. Here is Tails, because of course I would draw Tails at some point. A couple. This is another featherweight, basic featherweight drawing. I've done tons and tons and tons of that drawing, like so many of that. This is a scene from early in our D&D campaign, really loosely drawn. This was way before I'd ever gotten even remotely comfortable drawing scenes in pencil or anything like that. Okay, that's not a good camera angle. Yeah, Tails is really one of the only characters that I really like from the Sonic series. In general, I am neutral at best to most of them. Okay, are you gonna focus now? still too low down. It's not gonna focus on it. Anyway, this is one of the characters who's gone insane. He's in a skeleton mummy kind of outfit, wearing a kilt. We're lost at sea. Oh, well, there's Featherweight. Oh, no, now we're back at Tails. What happened here? Yeah, there's an older Featherweight drawing. Again, I've drawn Featherweight a lot. Kit is in that crate there that is bound together. Yeah, no, the camera just doesn't want you to see it. The guy who owned the comic shop before it merged with our game store in town had a thing where he would always challenge comic artists to draw Ambush Bug, who's a DC character, who's a really minor character. And so for his birthday, I drew Ambush Bug. And then there's, again, another Featherweight. He's kind of my, if I don't know what to draw, if I want to draw something, that's what I draw. Here was a kind of character thing I made for Shin one day. Here's another version of a, like, squirrel rabbit creature I made for Izzy. There's a Scootaloo drawing. Something a little bit different, not another Featherweight. Camera. Why? It's Scootaloo. It doesn't want to focus, but there we go. There's Scootaloo. And again, going back to it, here's Featherweight. Drawn, like I said, I've drawn a lot of Featherweight. Cola, who's in our chat. This is her Trapinch. I gave it the Mystery Dungeon badge there, and this is loosely based on the controller she said she was using. Was a GameCube controller, so that's what I drew. This was colored using an undercoat of colored pencil, and then I went over it with some markers I had. There's a drawing of Raichu. I like Raichu. This was my pleading for Square Enix to bring back the Dragon Warrior Monsters games in the United States. Here's an okay-ish drawing of Dragonite, and this is where you start seeing my skill taper off a bit. This is actually from way later, but it was practice doing shading with transparent objects, 2 transparent spheres, with how light refracts through them and out of them. This is the Pokemon Poke Scouts. I need to go back and add a Sentret to it because, if you don't know, Sentret is the Scout Pokemon. This is my off and on, I've been working on it sometimes, WWE Cruiserweight Championship title belt drawing. Every once in a while when I was bored I would add a little bit more to it, but it has a lot of little pieces and so I'd stop doing it. Here is an okay-ish version of Sami Zayn. This is Mitzi Hunt from the game The Cat Lady. I think this is probably the first shaded and colored drawing I've done since I started practicing art, and that is the ghost from Disgaea. And there's a Prinny. It is not colored. I did not go back and color that ever. Nick Nocturne from last year's. I didn't know what it said, so I wrote down, he has it on his belt, and I didn't know what it said, and so I was trying to figure out what the symbols were. But you've now told me what it says. Is it says his last name? I wasn't sure. Um, this is also from Cabin Fever Dreams era Nick Nocturne last year. He is a four-eyed cat with Lovecraftian like monstrosities to him, so that was him in kind of a rage. Here was my very first attempt at drawing Kit way back before I kind of understood how specifically Fennec ears fit onto the head. I actually have based my way of drawing ears off of Pip from Paladins. It's probably the best way I can think of to draw Fennec ears. Here's a much, much earlier Monster Kid. This is from over a year ago now. Here is the dapperest of Blooks. And this is actually sideways. This is Monster Kid sleeping. If it'll focus. There we go. Another Monster Kid. Another Monster Kid. Couple more. An older drawing of Dragonite, also not particularly spectacular, but it's okay. These are both scenes from, well, one's a scene and the other's kind of my variation on something that happens in the original ASMT, as is this a reference to the original ASMT. Sands. Oh, take care, logo. Spoilers, and then here's Alphys. Undertale spoilers. This one here. Again with spoilers, this is an old attempt at him. And then here's an older attempt at drawing Monster Kid. I'm actually really happy with how this one came out. This is an older attempt at these two. Undyne. One of my favorite scenes of Undyne. The dummy. Another Monster Kid. Washua. My name for this one on DeviantArt is Wash You Teeth and Eyes, because that is Shin's favorite line that Washua says. Couple more characters. You have Onion San and Vulcan. You have Toby. You have spoiler alerts. You have Greater Dog and Doggy. Older drawings. We have Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest, and Doggo from Undertale. Another spoiler alert, sort of. And there's this one. I really am happy with how this looks even today for how old it is. One of my earliest ones that I was really proud of, the first time I ever did inking on a piece. Part of a Lemmy Koopa that I never finished drawing. Napstablook. Of course we think you're cute, Napstablook, you're adorable. Older Monster Kid drawing. Camera, please. There we go. Cooper from Paper Mario. Oh wow, that's really lightly drawn. Dark's not here to admire him being in the background in this drawing. This was my proof of concept that Featherweight's head is actually that of a cat. It's the very similar face shape form for making a cat versus making Featherweight's head. Tammy and Papyrus. You have a Chow, and you have Monster Kid again. Getting really close to the start here. Lesser Dog and an older Featherweight drawing. Now we're back in 2016, and the very first drawing that I did when I first started using this as a sketchbook from December 27th, 2016, my first Monster Kid drawing. I think actually my very first Monster Kid drawing, period. And those are all the drawings I've had so far. I've been really happy with how much I've improved. You can really see from the start of my sketchbook to the end of my sketchbook how much a year's practice can do for art. I couldn't be much happier with how it's come out. There are still things that I have trouble with, and I'm sure over time I will get better at them. I have lots and lots more on the DeviantArt, because between that, there's some that I skipped in here because they weren't as important of drawings, or they weren't finished enough. I did the Lemmy Koopa one because I've never finished the Lemmy Koopa one. It's the only drawing a Lemmy I had in there, though, so I might go back and try that sometime. But those are the drawings I've done in the progress of my learning to draw. It is not easy to keep myself doing that stuff. Usually at lunch is when I do them, because at lunch I can't go anywhere typically because it's far enough from work for me to go home to eat that I can't consider it feasible, and I don't really want to spend money at fast food every day, so I usually just draw on my lunch hour instead of spending money wandering around, with the only exceptions being if there is a community day for Pokemon. I try to take my lunch during that time and go down and walk around. That's how I have Shiny Charizard and Shiny Ho-Oh, actually, that I got this most recent time when I was doing it, because there happened to be a group meeting up for a raid when I was down doing that, and so I have both of them. I lucked into getting a Shiny Ho-Oh on the very first time I tried to get Ho-Oh, which is good because it's harder to get, but it also means I still have to do another raid at some point because I don't have a regular Ho-Oh. But I will try. Yes, I will. So that's probably going to be the stream for the night. I have to go upstairs to see what's going on. I'm going to talk to my parents for a little while since I haven't seen them at all today. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, night, afternoon, morning, whatever it is where you are. Raj, for you, I know that means it's early morning. Well, the sun is up by now, I'd imagine. But that said, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, night, afternoon, morning, whatever is where you are. Hope to see you again real soon. And take care.